why is there a belief that there is not current confidence in the voting system in terms of its security? I guess I'm not aware of that polling or an outcry that shows that there's some type of widespread fear that the system is being taken advantage of.
Well, Representative Becker's, Representative Brenner's, comments were really right on point. I think many Ohioans, they actually think we already have photo ID. I talk to constituents all the time, and they'll say, well, don't we already do that? I show my driver's license. But the fact is we don't. And when you tell people that we don't have photo ID required in Ohio, they're incredulous for the most part. And they remark to me constantly. I just spent the weekend at the R-Geauga County Fair shaking a few thousand hands. And this is one of the issues that comes up consistently. Why can't we have photo ID in Ohio? So I think, I don't have the polling to quote for you, but on a basis of talking to folks, I think there really is a thought that this is something we need to do. We should have done long ago, frankly.
I'd like to make another comment on that. When we heard testimony in committee over these elections bills, one of the big discussions is, okay, well, it's going to potentially, you add all these changes and people will be, their voter suppression and all this kind of stuff. I find that to be a bunch of malarkey. I mean, people have 30 days worth of voting right now. They can request an absentee ballot. They can go into early voting polling places and vote, a month ahead of time. So they've got a month of opportunities to vote. And yet, voter turnout is probably going to be down in this election. It's been down in many elections since the last, pretty much since a lot of the changes went into effect that allowed for no-fault absentee voting. And the statistics bear that out, that voters are not showing up to vote. And they're, so what you then get into is you get into a cost, you get into an efficiency problem with the local boards of elections. I've talked to my local board of elections, and we're in a county that, although it's affluent, it's still a rural county. They've got X amount of dollars for their boards, and I've talked to other boards of elections in the state. They don't have the kind of money available. So if you've got a photo ID, that will make that process much more efficient and be able to review the person. Yep, that's the right person. You can look, see, boom, move on, and move the lines a little bit faster. So I think, in a way, this could potentially, in the long run, save money or save time, especially on election day, because people still show up. The last day, they show up on election day to vote. And this is, I think, a way that I think ultimately can, in the long run, improve efficiency.
Senator Brenner, are you surprised this bill has not had a hearing yet in committee?
I thought we had one hearing on this. We've not. Well, we had a lot of bills that went through the committee already, and I think maybe one of the things that I've heard is that we've already had a lot of bills that went through, and I think there was probably a little bit of too many bills built up, maybe, so to speak, on election law. So there may have been a break, and that may have been part of the decision making on that. Which, I can see that. But in this particular case, I think that the photo ID bill is something that's good. I think it's something that's needed, and I would support moving it forward.
If you go through this, and you may have already answered this, I'm not sure, but if you go through with this discharge petition, when would it be on the ballot, and would it be on the ballot at the same time as the voter bill of rights? You're doing a discharge petition to pull it, but then if it doesn't go through, when would it be on the ballot? I need to clarify that. I'm guessing covering your head.
I was trying to follow.
Yeah. If you pull the discharge petition and it goes nowhere, then what are you pushing for? What's the next? I guess the better way to phrase it is, what is the next step?
I actually have fun with that because this is a little confusing process. And it's fun explaining it to people as well, but it is the way our Constitution, our form of government, how legislation is moved. Because back in May, we did announce the intent for initiating statute petition for Ohio on this legislation. But because of the discharge petition effort, we're going to hold off of that and let the discharge petition move through. We'll see how it fares in the House and in the Senate, and as Representative Lynch stated, it will have its opportunity either between now and the election or in the lame duck, but both chambers would have to pass it and it would be signed by the governor. In the event that that is not successful, there is discussion of a constitutional amendment then going forward for the ballot in 2015. And if voter turnout is low, we might have a fewer number of signatures we'd have to collect. Right now it's 386,000. You probably have to collect 550,000 because they sort through a lot and throw signatures out to get certified for the ballot in 2015. So that is a disturbing trend to see that since 2004, voter turnout has continued to drop off. So when we talk about the confidence of the voter, anything we can do to encourage voting, to make it a more simpler process for people to cast a ballot, to be involved, we want to be about that. Working the polls last November, I happened to be in an inner city precinct in Akron. It was a majority African American community. 90-some% of them showed a photo ID. I think it makes the process easier and simpler and faster when you're going in to vote. Those who didn't have proper identification, it began to be frustration for them. There were some elderly gentlemen who were veterans, and the veterans card that they had wasn't permissible. So they had to go through the process of a provisional ballot, and helping them fill out that provisional ballot to make sure that it has the information, to make sure that that individual's ballot's going to count. So I think that it will do a couple of things. One, as more people, as Representative Brenner said, present the photo ID, those who don't have proper identification, obviously they can still vote. The Help America Vote Act says that everyone can vote at any ballot location. They'll be afforded a provisional ballot. It will help our poll workers to pay more attention, though, to the provisional ballot process for two reasons. One, to help those who want to cast a vote and to move through the provisional ballot process. And two, for those who do intend to commit fraud, maybe using a provisional ballot. Not so much in the touchscreen monitored counties, but in the optical scan, where they can get a provisional ballot when no one's looking, go over and feed it into the scanner, and as the Board of Election officials will tell you, there's no way to retrieve that vote or to indicate whether once it's in, so the ballots count. No wonder poll workers indicated something referenced as a fleeing voter. And I said, is that a talking point? What is that? Do you get that in training session? No, they said, no, sir, that is what we see. Someone comes, they get a ballot, and all of a sudden they're just gone. Well, when that happens in optical scan counties we're in practice, it's probably someone who got a provisional ballot, fed it in the machine, left the envelope, and then fled the scene. So that's a fraudulent vote. So that will go a long way, I think, to help.
But I guess my question is, do you think that the discharge petition is going to work, or do you think you're going to have to also, is that ultimately a strategy to get it to go to the ballot?
Well, today is day one. It begins today with the signatures of these gentlemen on the petition. There are others who have committed, I believe, Representative Lynch, to sign the petition as well. And so the chamber will have its opportunity to move it forward. So we'll have that discussion, and hopefully they will. In the event it doesn't, we are looking to go to the ballot in 2015.